The first time I saw her, she was bleeding starlight. That's the only way I can describe it. Not blood, not exactly. It shimmered, faintly luminous, like the faint glow of a dying nebula leaking through her fingers. She collapsed just outside my repair bay, right between a pile of scrap engines and a busted cargo drone that I'd been meaning to fix for months. I remember staring at her for a long moment, unsure if she was even real. Out here on the outer rim of the Arinder sector, strange things happened all the time. Smugglers dumped cargo, pirates faked distress signals, and sometimes people pretended to be injured just to get inside your workshop and steal whatever they could. But this didn't feel like a trick. She looked human. Mostly. Pale skin, dark hair matted to her face, breathing shallow and uneven. But there was something else, something off. The air around her seemed to hum, like space itself recognized her and didn't quite know what to do. I stepped closer, cautious. "Hey," I said, nudging her shoulder gently. "You alive?" Her eyes opened. They weren't human. Not fully. They shimmered, like galaxies compressed into irises, swirling with faint points of light. When they focused on me, I felt seen. Not just looked at. Seen all the way through. "Help me," she whispered. And that was it. I didn't ask questions. "My name is Kale Varen. I'm not a hero. I'm a mechanic. I fix broken ships, salvage junk, and try to stay out of trouble." Helping her was the worst decision I've ever made. And the best. I dragged her inside and locked the bay doors behind us. My workshop wasn't much, just a patched-up structure bolted to an asteroid chunk with barely enough power to keep the lights on. But it was private, and out here, privacy meant survival. I laid her on the workbench and grabbed my medkit. "All right," I muttered. "Let's see what we've got." Except I couldn't. The wound wasn't normal. There was no entry point, no exit wound, just a tear in reality itself, embedded in her side. It pulsed faintly, like a rip in space-time, leaking that strange, glowing substance. I froze. "Yeah," she said weakly, watching my expression. "That's about the reaction I expected." "What are you?" I asked. She smiled faintly. "Not dead yet. That's what matters." I almost laughed. "Stay with me," I said, forcing my focus back. "I'll figure something out." I didn't know how, but I wasn't going to let her die. I worked for hours. Standard medical tools were useless. The wound didn't respond to sealants or regenerative gel. Every time I tried to stabilize it, the tear would ripple, like it rejected anything from our universe. So, I improvised. I used a quantum stabilizer from a navigation core, rewired it into a localized field generator, and carefully lowered it over the wound. The effect was immediate. The tear slowed, its pulsing dimming as the stabilizer forced reality to behave. She gasped. "That helps," she whispered. "Good," I said, sweating. "Because that's all I've got." I adjusted the field, fine-tuning the frequency until the shimmering blood stopped leaking. For the first time since she arrived, she relaxed. "You shouldn't have done that," she murmured. "Yeah," I said. "Why not?" "Because now they'll find you too." I didn't get an answer before the scanners lit up. 3 ships had just dropped out of warp at the edge of the asteroid field. Military signatures. My stomach dropped. "Friends of yours?" I asked. Her expression darkened. "No." The ships moved fast, too fast for standard patrol vessels. Sleek, angular, painted in matte black that seemed to absorb light. I'd seen designs like that before, whispered about in smuggler circles. Imperial hunters. Elite enforcers of the Galactic Dominion. And they were coming straight for me. "All right," I said, grabbing my blaster from the tool rack. "You got about 10 seconds to explain why the most dangerous fleet in this sector is knocking on my door." She tried to sit up, wincing. I can't fight them like this, she said. You need to run. Run where? I snapped. This is an asteroid, not a planet. Then hide me? I stared at her. Hide you? I echoed. From them? Her gaze locked onto mine. Please. Something in her voice, something ancient, powerful, made me hesitate. Then the first warning shot hit my outer hull. No more time. I dragged her off the bench and into the back room, shoving aside crates of spare parts until I exposed the maintenance crawl space beneath the floor.
Get in, I said.
She hesitated. If they find you, they won't. I cut in. Now move. She slipped into the crawl space, disappearing into the shadows. I sealed the panel just as my front door exploded inward. They came in like shadows. 3 of them. Tall, armored, helmets reflecting nothing. Their weapons hummed with barely contained energy. One stepped forward. Citizen, he said, voice distorted through his helmet. We are searching for a fugitive. Surrender her, and you will not be harmed. I forced a confused expression. Fugitive, I said. I haven't seen anyone.
A lie.
A terrible one. But it was all I had. The hunter tilted his head. Your life signs indicate 2 individuals in this structure. My heart skipped. Damn it. Probably a glitch, I said quickly. My equipment's old. He raised his weapon. I didn't think. I moved. The fight was short and brutal. I managed to take one of them down with a well-placed shot to the visor. The second lunged at me, and we crashed into a console, sparks flying as machinery exploded around us. The third? He didn't even move. He just watched, calculating, waiting. I barely dodged a strike that would have split me in half, grabbed a plasma cutter, and drove it into the second hunter's armor. The suit overloaded, sending him crashing to the floor in a burst of electricity. I turned, breathing hard. Only one left. Impressive, he said. Then he moved. I didn't see it happen. One moment he was across the room. The next, he was in front of me, his weapon pressed against my chest. Where is she? He asked. I swallowed. No idea what you're talking about. He tilted his head again. Then, a voice echoed through the room. Enough. The air changed. That's the only way I can describe it. Everything stilled. The hum of machinery, the flicker of lights, even the dust in the air seemed frozen. The hunter stepped back. Slowly, respectfully. The floor panel behind me slid open. She stepped out. But she wasn't the same. The injured woman I'd dragged inside was gone. In her place stood something else. Her wounds were gone. Her posture straight, her presence overwhelming. Light shimmered faintly around her, bending reality itself. Her eyes, those galaxy-filled eyes, burned brighter now. Stand down, she said. The hunter dropped to one knee. My empress. I blinked. You're what? I stared at her. She stared at me. And for a moment, everything else faded. I was going to tell you, she said softly. Yeah, I replied. I'm guessing that would have been a good idea. She almost smiled. Then she turned to the hunter. Leave, she commanded. All of you. Yes, my empress. Within seconds, they were gone.
Just like that.
The most feared enforcers in the galaxy obeyed her without question. Silence filled the workshop. I looked at her. You rule the Galactic Dominion? I asked. She shook her head.
No, she said.
I rule everything beyond it. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Of course you do, I said. Why not? She stepped closer. I didn't lie to you, she said. I just didn't tell you everything. That's one way to put it. I needed help, she said. And you gave it. Without knowing who I was. I crossed my arms.
Yeah, well.
Next time, maybe mention you're the most powerful being in the universe. She tilted her head. Would you have helped me? I opened my mouth, then closed it. No, I admitted. She nodded. Exactly. Her name was Lyra. At least, that's the closest translation my mind could handle. She wasn't just an empress. She was something older. A being who existed between galaxies, who shaped civilizations, who could bend reality like I bend metal. And somehow she'd been wounded. Who did that to you? I asked. Her expression darkened. Something that should not exist, she said. Something even I cannot fully control. I frowned. That's not reassuring. It shouldn't be, she replied. Over the next few hours, she told me everything. About the war beyond known space. About entities that consumed entire star systems. About her role, balancing, controlling, protecting. And how, for the first time in eons, she had lost. That wound, she said, touching her side, was not meant to harm me. Then what? It was meant to end me. I felt a chill. And you survived. Because of you. I shook my head. I just patched you up, I said. Don't make it sound like I saved the universe. She stepped closer. You did, she said simply. I didn't know what to say to that.
So, I didn't say anything.
She stayed for a while after that.
Days.
Maybe weeks. Time felt strange around her. She helped repair my station, improved my systems, even showed me things, technology, concepts I barely understood. And we talked about everything. For someone who ruled galaxies, she was surprisingly human. Or maybe I just wanted her to be. But it couldn't last. It never does. One day, she stood by the viewport, watching the stars. It's time, she said. I nodded. Yeah, I replied. Figured. She turned to me. I could take you with me, she said. My heart skipped. Where? Everywhere. I hesitated. For a moment, I imagined it. Seeing galaxies. Traveling beyond reality. Being part of something bigger. Then I looked around my workshop. My home. My life. I can't, I said. She smiled. I know. She stepped closer. Cale Varen, she said. The man who helped a stranger, without asking who she was. I smirked.
Yeah, well.
Don't expect me to make a habit of it. She laughed softly. Then she kissed me. Light exploded around us, warm and infinite. For a moment, I felt everything. Stars. Galaxies. Time itself. Then it was gone. She stepped back.
Thank you, she said.
And then she disappeared. It's been a year since then. My workshop's still here. Still broken. Still mine. Sometimes, ships pass through the sector. Strange ones, powerful ones, and they always leave me alone. I guess word got around. Or maybe she's still watching. Every now and then, I look up at the stars and wonder where she is. What she's doing. If she remembers me. Then I shake my head and get back to work. Because that's who I am. Just a mechanic. Who once helped a stranger heal. And accidentally saved the galaxy. It didn't end the day she vanished. That would have been easier. For weeks after Lyra disappeared, space felt thinner. Quieter. Not peaceful. Waiting. I tried to go back to normal. Fixed cargo haulers. Tuned smuggler engines. Argued over payment. Ate terrible ration bars and pretended I hadn't once felt the heartbeat of the cosmos against my skin. But something had changed. In me. I could feel it sometimes, a faint vibration behind reality. Like the stabilizer I'd built for her wound had left an imprint on me. Or maybe she had. The signal. It happened 3 months later. Every system in my workshop shut down at once. No warning. No power surge. Just silence. Then the stars outside flickered. Not metaphorically. Actually flickered. Like someone was adjusting brightness on the universe. And I knew. Lyra, I whispered. The air split open in front of me. Not violently. Not like before. This was precise. Controlled. Intentional. She stepped through, but not in physical form. This version of her was larger, radiant, composed of constellations woven into the shape of a woman. Her eyes contained spirals of collapsing suns. And for the first time, she looked afraid. Kale, she said, her voice echoing through dimensions. What happened? I asked immediately. It found me again. My stomach dropped. The thing that wounded you? She nodded. It has learned. Learned what? Her gaze locked onto mine. That I am not alone. The stars outside began dimming, one by one. In the distance, space folded inward like fabric being crushed in a fist. Something was coming. And it wasn't a fleet. It wasn't an empire. It was absence. A moving void. Where it passed, stars didn't explode. They ceased. Erased. I sealed it beyond the outer dark, Lyra said. But it adapts. It consumes energy, matter, law itself. Can you stop it? Yes. The pause after that word told me the rest. But I pressed, but not without anchoring myself fully into this reality. I stared at her. You're not fully here? I exist across layers, she said. If I commit everything to this plane, I become vulnerable. To dying. Yes. The void reached the edge of our sector. Ships tried to warp away. They vanished mid-jump, like chalk wiped from a board. I felt fear then. Real fear. Not for me. For everything. You need an anchor? I said suddenly. Her eyes sharpened. Yes. I ran to my workbench. The quantum stabilizer. The same device I'd used to stop her wound from tearing her apart. You said my tech helped because it forced reality to behave. I said, ripping panels open. What if we scale it? You cannot scale that to cosmic magnitude, she said. Not alone, I replied. I looked up at her. But with you? Understanding dawned in her expression. You would bind yourself to me, she said slowly. I already did, I answered. Silence. Then, you would not survive it unchanged. I gave a crooked smile. I've never been that attached to normal. The void swallowed the nearest star. Darkness rushed closer. Decision time was over. The binding. She extended her hand. I grabbed it. Instantly, my body ignited with light. Not burning. Expanding. I saw everything again. Galaxies spinning. Timelines branching. Civilizations rising and falling like sparks. But this time, I wasn't just observing. I was part of the circuitry. Part of the framework. Lyra's voice filled my mind. I will channel through you. You will anchor me to this dimension. And if it tears me apart, I asked, I will not let it. The void arrived. It wasn't shaped. It wasn't alive in any way I could define. It was subtraction. A force that insisted nothing should exist. It collided with Lyra's radiance. And the universe screamed. Stars shattered into mathematical fragments. Space rippled like liquid. Through me, her power flowed, stabilized, focused, sharpened. The void pushed back. It began erasing her edges. I felt her weakening. More, she said. I'm trying. You're holding back. Because she was right. I was afraid. Afraid of dissolving. Of losing myself. Of becoming something unrecognizable. Then I remembered something she once asked me. Would you have helped me if you knew who I was? No. But I helped anyway. Not because she ruled everything. because she was hurt, because she needed someone. So I let go.
Completely. The choice.
Instead of acting as an anchor, I inverted the stabilizer pattern. Instead of forcing reality to behave, I forced the void to define itself. If it wanted to erase existence, it had to exist first. And existence meant rules, boundaries, structure. The paradox hit it like a detonation. For the first time, the void had shape, and Lyra struck, not with fury, not with destruction, with integration. She wrapped around it, light folding over shadow, compressing it into a singularity no larger than a star. The shockwave rippled outward. Then, silence. The stars stopped flickering. Space stopped screaming. The void was gone. The cost. I collapsed. The workshop floor felt very small after touching infinity. Lyra fell beside me. Not cosmic, not radiant. Just her, breathing hard. Human. Too human. It's done, she whispered. I looked at her carefully. You're still here. Yes. But, she swallowed. I am no longer beyond. The meaning hit me slowly. You're mortal. She nodded. I chose to remain anchored. With me? Yes. I stared at the ceiling, then laughed weakly. So, the Empress of everything just quit. A faint smile. I chose something smaller. She looked at me, but real. 1 year later, the galaxy didn't collapse. Empires still squabbled. Smugglers still cheated. Stars still burned. But something had changed at the highest levels. The galactic dominion fractured quietly. Without Lyra's distant oversight, power decentralized. Systems began governing themselves. Not perfectly, but freely. As for her, she lives in the back room of my workshop. No throne, no fleets, no hunters kneeling at her feet. Just a small bunk, oil-stained floors, and the smell of coolant. She's learning how to be ordinary. It's harder than ruling galaxies. She burns meals. She asks too many questions. She still stares at the stars sometimes, not with authority anymore, but with memory. Do you regret it? I asked her once. Regret what? Giving up eternity.
She thought for a long time,
Then shook her head. I ruled the galaxy, she said softly. But I had never been chosen. She looked at me. You chose me. Before you knew. I didn't have a clever response to that. So I just handed her a wrench. Hold this, I said.
She did.
And smiled. Final scene. Sometimes I feel it, faint echoes of what we were. If I close my eyes, I can still sense the framework of the universe humming quietly. But it's distant now. Stable. Safe. She saved it. We saved it. And no one will ever know. Out here on the edge of nowhere, I still fix ships. She still watches sunsets through reinforced glass like they're miracles. And maybe they are. Because once, she ruled the infinite. Now, she argues with me about spare parts inventory. And laughs. And lives.